Hey guys, Bud here at IPD. Today we're going to be going over an oil change on the 2-liter VEA engines, which are found in most of the new Volvos, starting in the mid 2015, 16 and later cars. So this in particular is a 2016 XC90. We're just going to go over step by step on what you're going to need to do to complete this job yourself. So you're going to need to be under the car and above the car to do this job. We're lucky to have a lift. Most people are going to be doing this in their driveway with the use of ramps or jack stands. Make sure that you support the vehicle well when you're doing this. First step is we're going to remove this underbody splash pan. There's a bunch of Torx bolts in here and 2 plastic clips. This takes a T30, pretty common if you have a Torx bit set. Most new Volvos use some sort of Torx in different areas. So if you don't have one, we sell them at IPD, or they can be found at most local hardware stores as well. All right, we have all the screws removed. From the factory, they have these 2 little plastic clips, one front and one rear, to hold it in place a little bit once you get those Torx screws out. So you just kind of pinch those together and you'll be able to take this out. A lot of times they get broken under the car as well. They get brittle. So if you don't have them, no worries. You just got to hold it up with one hand when you take it off. All right, so on the 2-liter motors, Volvo did something new with these oil filter housings. They actually put a drain plug in there. All the new oil filters come with a new O-ring for the housing and a new O-ring for the drain plug. On some of the later models, mostly 2019 and later, there is a different style oil filter housing that's possible, which does take a different filter. We have all that information on the website in regards to the engine serial numbers. If you have any questions, you can always give us a call, or you can verify. There is a marking on here that we have pictures of on the website that has a little diamond stamp or a little diamond marking on it for the later style filters. All right, so we're gonna start with draining the oil from the oil pan first. This is just a 17 millimeter, same drain plug that's found on all the 93 5-cylinder motors and later. So it takes the same crush washer. We're just gonna crack this loose. We're gonna get our oil pan up under here. I'm gonna take it out and let it drain. All right, we've been letting this drain for a few minutes. It's come to a slow drip now. One thing you're gonna wanna make sure is that you get this aluminum crush washer off of the drain plug or off of the oil pan if it sticks there. All of our oil change kits come with new crush washers. So then we're just gonna thread this back in so we don't get any drips when we move this pan. Get our 17 over here. We'll snug this down. Doesn't have to be super tight. Don't wipe off any oil residue we have. All right, so we got the drain plug back in with the new washer. We're gonna snug this down with a wrench, and then you can also get your torque wrench out. Should be 28 to 30 foot-pounds of torque to tighten that down. We're gonna move on to the oil filter housing. So this is a 6 millimeter hex. It's kind of a cool feature that they worked into these things to prevent as large of a mess as you would normally get with the old style. So we're just gonna break this free and spin it out by hand. Let that drain for a few minutes. Now this bolt does have an O-ring on it, which will come with all of the new oil filters that we sell. Okay, so we have our oil filter on the bench with our oil filter housing drain plug. For this oil change, we're going to use the UFI brand, which is the manufacturer for Volvo on this model. We also carry MAN, Mala, and Volvo OEM. So we do classify these a little bit differently on the website. So we'll have the OEM supplier or an OES supplier. So we use OES for things like MAN and Mala, where they've used that manufacturer in the past. Then of course we have the OE version that we buy direct from Volvo as well. So for this O-ring, you're just going to take a pick tool here, get it underneath there, pop it out, and then slide the new one on. Alright, so our oil filter housing has drained. It's dripping just slightly, but when you first remove it, it'll go kind of slow, and as it continues to drain, there'll be another surge after you sit there for a minute or two. So we're going to thread this back in so we don't have oil running into our oil filter cap wrench when we're taking the housing off. So once you thread it in by hand, you're going to take your ratchet or your Allen wrench. You're just going to snug it down a little bit. You'll feel it come to a stop. It does have an O-ring that seals it, so you don't have to over tighten it. You don't want to break that housing or strip out the threads. All right, so these housings do take a specific oil filter cap wrench. There is 2 or 3 that Volvo has used throughout the years, depending on the motor. So you want to reference the website, and we have a specific listing for each of the different models. So you will probably get a little bit of residual oil as you do take this off. Once you get it loose, you can pull this cap off, and then you can finish threading it and unscrewing it by hand. Alright, so once you get the housing off, we dump the rest of the oil out into the oil pan because there was still some in there. So you remove this, you can clean this up, and then there's an additional O-ring here that seals the housing in the oil pan. So we're going to take our pick tool, remove this guy, toss it with the filter, we're going to install the new one. Now that we have it off, the new O-ring in, clean this housing up a little bit so it's not all nasty when you go to put it on there. You're going to put the new filter in, and it does snap into place. Should look like that once it's ready to go. Now, since this is getting threaded back into the oil pan, we don't want to use a dry O-ring, so we're going to take a little bit of oil from our new liter of oil. We're just going to rub a little bit on there so that seal doesn't bind up when we put it back into the engine. Alright, so we're about ready to put this back in. Take a rag, we'll clean up all this oil so we don't have any residue spreading all over the bottom of the engine here. I'm just going to thread this right back in. So you'll feel it hit the O-ring. It starts to get a little bit tight. Then to take your oil filter cap wrench, you can go ahead and continue to thread that in, and then you'll feel it when it comes to a stop. It doesn't have to be super tight, you just have to snug it down a little bit there. Alright, so now that we have our drain pan out of the way, we have a little better access to this stuff. Do a final wipe down of the area, make sure we don't have any oil residue because it will attract dirt and kind of spread all over the area down here. All right, so we got the splash pan back on here. Quick reminder about these, or a note. So all these little Torx screws thread into plastic nut certs that go into the subframe. So it's really common that they get stripped out or they break, or these bolts will be missing. We carry all of these on the website as well. All right, so now that we have drained the oil, we're gonna go ahead and add new oil to the engine. We're gonna remove the oil cap. You're gonna want some type of funnel. Here at IPD, we do sell specific attachments for a funnel. So you can put this into the car, lock it in place, and then we have this funnel that will go in there. Just helps you prevent making a large mess on the top of the motor. All right, so these new motors do take a very specific type of oil. It's a 0W20. This is a Motul brand. It's one of the only brands that's certified by Volvo Car Corporation. We also carry the Castrol equivalent that Volvo uses at the dealerships, but today we're just going to be using this Motul here. You're going to want to look for the VCC certification on here, and that means it's certified by Volvo Car Corporation. So we do have oil change kits listed for all different types of makes and models of Volvo on our website, and we've done all the research to make sure that everything is certified for your specific model. So in this engine, it takes 6 liters of engine oil. So a liter is just a little more than a quart. So all of Volvo specifications go by liters, being the European spec. So for these cars, there is no engine oil dipstick any longer to check oil level. So that's why we're going with the liter measurement, is because it is very specific, 6 liters. Later on in the video, we'll show you how to double check this inside the car to make sure that your oil level is sufficient. All right, one common question that we get from customers is how often they should change their engine oil on these motors. So from the factory, Volvo recommended 7,500 to 10,000 miles on these. They've updated that. Our local dealership now recommends every 5,000 miles. So that's the maintenance schedule that we stick to. And this change was made due to the direct injected portion of the motor. That's to help reduce carbon buildup in the motor itself and prevent knock at low RPMs. So you'll be able to find all this information on all of the oil change kit pages that we list on the website. It'll be also listed in most of the specific oil pages as well. All right, now that we've added the oil, we've removed the funnel, we're going to reinstall the cap. We're going to go start the car, and then we'll get inside the vehicle, show you how to check the oil level and how to reset the service reminder for it. Okay, so we started the car, let it cycle through, and now we're going to check the oil level. So for this, it's going to be done through the infotainment system. If it's not already up on your menu here and say car status, you're going to scroll to the right, you're going to hit car status, and you're going to click on status. This one happened to already be there, and that shows your oil level. So you can also check the service. So as you can see, this one was overdue. 0 days to service and 0 miles to service, so that just means that we needed to do it. Once we reset it, it'll have a new value there. So for this, if you just change the oil and you're getting a maintenance overdue message on your dash, we're going to show you how to reset that. So to start, you're going to put the vehicle into active mode, or essentially key position 2, what would be on an older vehicle. Next step is that you're going to push and hold down the decelerate button for the cruise control. You're going to place your foot on the brake, and then you're actually going to start the vehicle. So once it's started, you're going to continue to hold this button down. Once you see that yellow eye on the dash start flashing, you're going to release it, and you should get a message on the dash that says maintenance reminder reset. So to double check that, you can go into the car status here. You can go down into service, and it'll show you the new service interval. So 360 days or 9,941 miles. So we're going to disregard this slightly, because for oil change service on these cars, we're going to recommend 5,000 miles.